So, this is October 29th? 30th, 2019, and we are interviewing a very special person within the town of Wheatfield and its history, Mr. Winston Moeller, who has served on the town council, the town planning board, and a couple of other things that even I don't know, but we'll go into that as we do. Tell me, sir, when were you born?
June 27th, 32.
1932?
1932.
And what was it like in your childhood in the town? Were you born in Wheatfield?
I was born, yes, lived in Wheatfield right away. My parents lived in with my grandfather, and so I was brought up on a small farm at that time, 16-acre farm.
Mm-hmm. What is your most vivid memory of that time? Or the most interesting, or some of the more interesting times when you were younger? Were you given certain chores regularly, or?
Yeah, I actually had various chores that we lived on Ward Road in a old farmhouse and didn't have all the facilities, so we didn't have a furnace. We had an oil stove in the living room, dining room, and one of my duties was to bring the oil in gallon jugs, fill the reservoir.
And did they deliver it? Did they make deliveries?
It was delivered, you know, in a outdoor shed, 55-gallon drums. And I mowed the lawn with a hand mower.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Any other jobs on the farm? Any other jobs on the farm?
Oh, eventually we had chickens and stuff, so I joined the 4-H and raised chickens as my project.
Oh, okay. So that you utilized farm animals on your own farm towards your 4-H.
Yeah, mostly it was chickens at that point. When I was very young, my grandfather had pigs, had a horse. I don't remember if he had a cow or not. But then eventually he retired and all that stuff left except the chickens.
And that's what was left to you?
Well, you know, he, of course, taught me a lot of stuff, how to take care of them and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What was it like at your family house or in town during the Second World War?
For what?
The Second World War?
Oh, well, I was in grade school at the time, and I remember walking to school, and then we had different drives, like collecting metal, scrap metal. We had a big pile in front of the schoolhouse. We picked milkweed pods in the fields because that silk went into making parachutes. So those were little projects that the school took on.
And which schoolhouse was this?
It was St. John Lutheran on the corner, but it was the old school. I mean, original Yeah, pretty much the original school. 2 classrooms, 4 grades in each.
And 4 grades in each room, so it was a 2-room and 4 grades, yeah. I suppose you were too young to serve in the military at that time.
Yeah, I was. When the war ended, it was 45. I was 13.
Did any of your family members serve in the war?
No, my father had some health problems, and he would have been eligible age-wise, but I had 2 cousins that served. Yeah, 2 cousins. One was killed over in Sicily.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think a couple of my other cousins served, but I don't recall just where.
Mm-hmm.
And one stayed stateside, I know that. It was down in Huntsville, Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Down there.
But no one had, heroes or no medals.
Right. They just did their duty, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, how did you get involved in? I should rather ask firstly. When did you go? Where did you go to school besides St. John's? Did you go to high school next, or?
Yeah, at the time it was known as Wheatfield. So I went to North Tonawanda.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated in '50. I went on to University of Buffalo, but I didn't go full time. I just went part time, nights, Saturdays. And then the draft came along, and I got drafted into the Korean War.
Mm-hmm. And what was that experience like?
Well, it was. My basic training was down in Camp Pickett, Virginia. I was in the Army Medical Corps, so the training was eight weeks of basic training, military, and 8 weeks of medical. So we learn how to do hospital care, give shots, do all that kind of stuff. And then at the end of 16 weeks, there was about 14 of us that didn't get any orders to go anywhere. We had kind of been picked as possible officer candidates. Fortunately, I was not willing to go full time at all. It was only 2 that were picked out of the 14. So in the meantime, they had us assigned to a job on the base, and I was like a supply sergeant duties, dishing out equipment to the new trainees coming in. So when that time came that I didn't get picked for that officer school, they said, you got 3 choices. You can go directly over to Korea, you can take an 8-week leadership course and go over to Korea, or if you can stay, you're going to stay in the job you got here. Well, for me it was a no-brainer. Well, I go over to Korea and fight when I could serve this way. So that's what I ended up doing the rest of my time. First, well, about 14 months there, and then the last 9 or 10 months I was in Fort Sam, Houston, Texas, because the war was over, and they didn't need these camps like Camp Pickett, so we got sent to the the medical center,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I got discharged from.
What rank were you at?
At that point, they finally made me a corporal,
Oh, cool.
and that was an incentive to stay in. The reason being that rank was now coming back, so that nullified me. I was doing a job as a sergeant, but never got the rank.
Oh, okay.
It's part of the game.
It's true.
So,
So what happened when you came back from service?
yeah, I got married 1 month after I got home.
Wow.
Yeah, I had gotten engaged about a year and a half before, because I felt I didn't want my fiance to wonder what I was doing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and sit home and wait, and then nothing would transpire. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
got married, and we lived in her parents' farmhouse on Warren Road
Oh, all right.
for the start. And then we built our own home in 56, started in 56, finished in 57. And at that point my wife was expecting their first child. So we moved in February, and April my first daughter was born.
And how many children did you have?
3. And that's when, that was in April when she was born, and in June, out of the clear blue, I got a person come to my door and say, "We want you to think about running for town clerk."
Hmm.
I had no inkling to get into politics. I never involved myself.
Hmm.
So I thought about it. At that time, the office was run out of your own home.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so they said, "Your wife can be your deputy." And I'm thinking she had worked all her life, but with the child, she said, "No, I'm staying home."
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that would possibly be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I was only 25 years old, and
Wow.
that's not the norm, you know. Everybody that's in politics was 40, 50 or much older.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I won the election. Unbelievable. I mean, that I
Wow.
won over a fellow that had been running on a Democratic ticket for other jobs, and saw the opportunity to get in now, and I managed to win the election.
Wow.
And of course, if you do a decent job as a town clerk, it's a service.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 5 2-year terms and then 1 4-year term, total 14 years.
And these were
At
between.
that point, the job got so big that I had to have a deputy, and we were over in the old town hall.
Mm-hmm.
Moved to the office over there because it was way too much business out of my home. And
And then this is the town hall on Niagara Falls Boulevard,
yeah,
behind what is now the
yeah,
7-Eleven.
where it's Alder Creek music. And
Right.
but the part of it I didn't like is that I still had a 40-hour job in industry. And my wife and the deputy were running the show. And people were happy, but inwardly I said, I'm the town clerk, I should be there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's when I chose to not run again, and he said, well, you run for councilman.
Mm.
That's something you can do at night. It'll affect your job. So I chose to do that, and of course my popularity was still there, and I won that.
Mm.
And I had 2 more 4-year terms, total of 26 years. At that point I felt I had nothing new to offer, and just to go through the motions, I didn't feel that was really serving the people the way I should.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose not to run. And then, I think it was in '83 when I finished. '89, the town board at that time decided to form an economic development committee. So they, bipartisan, they chose people from the Republican and Democrat. Then that committee got together and they asked me to serve as their chairman because I had all these years of experience with the town. So I took that on, and we started trying to get Wheatfield identified, and that wasn't easy.
That's true.
People would say, where's Wheatfield? And you have to tell them, well, it was between Niagara Falls and Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
But we're right on Route 62.
Mm-hmm.
So going to trade shows and that, oh yeah, I remember driving through there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but eventually we were able to get a video made.
And you're in that video.
Brochures.
You're in that video too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we, of course, promoted like Bell Aerosystems building,
Mm-hmm.
industrial parks that we had.
Mm-hmm.
But in 1993, Supervisor Kuhn decided he didn't, wait a minute, no, that's right, that was the year I ran against him.
Oh, for supervisor?
We had difficulty communicating.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't only me, it was the whole committee.
Mm-hmm.
But he had his ideas and didn't always jive with what we were trying to do.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, when I had gotten laid off from my job.
Which was?
And,
What job was that?
well, originally, going back in '88, I was let go from the company I was with. I had 36 years with them, they got bought out and kept getting bought out, and this outfit said, at that point I was a credit manager, and not an accounting manager, because at one point I was both. And so they said, we got our own credit manager, give you 90 days, and then you clean up the accounts that you can, and you're done.
You see.
So fortunately, I had a good network with other accountants in Niagara Falls. So I got a call one day, and this fellow says, I understand you're getting laid off. I said, yeah. He says, well, we can use another accountant over here. Come on over. So I went to Carbide Graphite on Packard Road. And of course, I was there 4.5 years, and that's when the carbon industry went down. I was a low man. So that's when I got laid off, because they always wanted me to run for supervisor, and I said, as long as I'm working, I'm not going to run for supervisor.
Right.
Well, I had no excuse at this point other than to say no anyway. But finally I said, well, I guess I'll try running. Unfortunately, I lost.
You lost to Terry Coon?
Yeah, because it was 10 years from the time I was councilman. A lot of people moved in. They didn't know me at all. So I was relying on my popularity from way back, but it didn't work.
Sure.
Anyway, then, of course, supervisor kind of phased me out, and a few others. That's when Mr. Demler got elected 2 years after that. And then after a year, a little over a year, his budget director quit on him. And it was just at that point that I was retiring from another job I had got. And he called me up, he said, I could use you over here. And I thought I was just going to plain retire. So finally, he persuaded me. It was 20 hours a week maybe, whatever. You pick your time. You live only 4 doors. At that point, I lived 4 doors from the town hall. I said, I'll give it a shot. If I can do you some good, I'll stick around. Otherwise, I'm done. Well, fortunately, things started to go well. And my background in finance worked. So I stayed around till 5 years. I was 70.
Wow.
I said, that's enough.
Yeah.
I said, I'll help you, help train another person, or you pick. So he picked a guy by the name of Johnston. And Jim had a background in business, but not as a budget director. But I started training him away. That's when Deborah said, I want you to be my budget chairman.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, Jim Johnson got health problems.
Oh, dear.
And he had to give it up. So temporarily I was back in it again. I said, Tim, make sure you get somebody else. So he got Ed McAllister, who used to work for Carver.
Okay, yeah.
And Ed, again, had a background in sales, but not the administrative as much. But he was knowledgeable enough, and I guided him into it. And it turned out that he got cancer,
Ooh. That was,
So,
and how long?
back in it again.
Yeah, back in it again for a bit. Alright.
Then,
Oh no.
we had an auditor, I forget which, Malecki's firm, by the fellow by the name of Udit Sharma.
Mm-hmm.
And he sounded interested in, because he had done the auditing, so he knew our whole system.
Mm-hmm.
And more knowledgeable than me, really. So I thought, oh, good. This was in April of 2009. My wife had just passed away, and I didn't particularly care whether I had that job.
As budget director at
Yeah.
that point, right?
Because my church treasurer at my church had resigned in March, and I got that job back. So I always had something. But then in end of September of 2009, I get a call one day, and can you come over to the town hall? Yeah. The day before the preliminary budget, tentative budget was supposed to be presented, Udit Sharma had resigned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had the whole ball of wax in my hand again.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Demler says, can you help me? We gotta finish this budget, it's gotta be presented.
Mm-hmm.
So, make a long story short, we put it together, but the state auditor was there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking over my shoulder and helping, very helpful. He said, you're gonna have to create a tax. You decide it's either highway or it's general fund.
Mm-hmm.
I sensed it coming. I had warned them maybe, well, before this Sharma took over. I said, we gotta be careful here. We're running and using up all the reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to go into that anymore.
Understood.
But I just stood my ground and told the town board, I said, you're going to have to create a tax.
Mm-hmm.
Decide where you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they took charge highway. So that's when we had a highway tax for a couple of years. And fortunately, our Bob Cliff won the election, and the county population, the population census in 2010 gave us a lot more sales tax revenue, pulled right out of it. So
Good.
I knew that was coming, but so anyway, that was my story of my political life.
Thank you.